What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 290. We have Alexander Volkanovski going against Yair Rodriguez.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another betting breakdown video this week, breaking down UFC 290 with a 14-fight banger of a card. A tricky card, I'd say, to navigate through from a betting perspective. We have a ton of massive favorites here to deal with. We have multiple favorites over minus 1,000. Probably the chalkiest card I've ever seen, but for me this week, I'm sprinkling a lot of plus money props. I have a lot of bets in terms of the volume of bets. I have a lot of big juicy props I'm trying to hit a couple on. I don't think I'm laying a lot of chalk this week. I think I have like 20 bets, only laying juice on 4 of those. So hopefully hitting some plus money props here. There are some spots that stick out. Can't wait to break it down. Before we get into it, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is much appreciated as always. I'm going to kind of rush through this. I know people don't like when I do, but I might be late to my flight. I'm heading out to Vegas to watch the card, go to UFC X and all that. So my flight leaves in a couple hours, and I have about an hour and a half trip there. So we will see if I even make it there. But yeah, going to kind of rush through this one, try to give all my bets and give all my leans here. So like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Do appreciate the support week in and week out. It does mean a ton. And yeah, I say we get right into it here. So, and also, if I do add anything for this card, I will be placing it down in the comments. But here's what I have thus far. All right, Esteban Ribovics going against Kamela Kirk. Yeah, crazy line movement on this one. We have Ribovics, who is like minus 200. Kirk, who is around like plus 170 for a while. And then all of a sudden money came on Kirk. And I get it to an extent. I think that Kirk, in theory, could go out there, get takedowns. He's a BJJ black belt, good grappler. The problem I have with Kirk is a couple things. He doesn't grapple as much as he should. He's very low volume on the feet. I don't think his cardio's that great. He's coming off of like a major back injury. He's coming up a weight class for the first time. I mean, there's just a lot of things I don't like on the Kirk side, where you got Ribovics, who I don't think, like I said, his takedown defense is the worst I've ever seen. But he does a really good job at getting back up. He makes his opponents work, and he has power and a ton of power, and that power carries all throughout the fight. So I like Ribovics here. I did take a half unit shot on Ribovics inside the distance at plus 150. And then I also think that Ribovics and his round 2, round 3 props are very much on the table. Not the best prices, but I think if he does finish this fight, I guess it could be early, but I think if Kirk starts to slow down, Ribovics can't get him out of there late. Ribovics does have multiple finishes that happen late in the fight. So taking Ribovics here, the bet is a half unit shot on Ribovics inside the distance, plus 150, taking that minus 145 price tag, turning it into plus money for a guy that has a 100% finish rate and hits like an absolute truck. Moving on, we got Jesus Aguilar going against Shannon Ross. Yeah, Shannon Ross, another very popular dog this week. I get it to a certain extent. Like, Jesus Aguilar is not great, but Shannon Ross, I seriously question the durability. I referred to him as the Australian Malcolm Gordon, and the reason being is this guy gets hurt a ton. Like, even before the Contender Series, what I did not like about Shannon Ross was the potential durability issues. And after Contender Series, I'm like, yeah, that's, it's bad. I mean, he got dropped 3 times, and he's a flyweight by a guy that I don't think is that good in Salvador, right? And then he goes out in his UFC debut and gets starched in 60 seconds, so the durability is a massive issue. But he's taking on Jesus Aguilar, who has 0 knockouts. But would anybody be shocked if Aguilar got his first knockout win here? But I do think at some point Aguilar gets this fight down to the mat and gets that guillotine. I mean, this guy's jumping guillotine like Cody Brundage out there, but actually having success with it. He has probably 5-6 guillotine wins on his record. I think at some point he is going to catch Shannon Ross in that guillotine. He's going to go for it multiple times. I like Aguilar here. I actually don't think he's his striking's not good, but his wrestling's not bad. And then, like I said, his grappling is very, very solid. So I think at some point Aguilar does snatch at that neck. And if you do like Aguilar, don't lay chalk on him. Just probably bet the sub prop. And that's what I did. I bet the inside the distance for Aguilar, half a unit, plus 180. The reason being is I think it is a submission. But, like I said, Ross's chin is so questionable that, maybe Aguilar does get his first ever knockout win. So I have half a unit on the inside the distance prop for Aguilar, plus 180. And then I also might add on to the sub prop. We'll see. That's plus 280, which I think is pretty much how he wins. Moving on, we got Cameron Simon going against Terrence Mitchell. So I have 2 parlay pieces that involve Cameron Simon. The first one is the under 2.5. The second one is the Simon inside the distance, both chalky spots. Like I said, I'm trying to stay away from the chalk this week, but this is a spot that I really do like and feel comfortable with laying this much chalk. I don't think Terrence Mitchell really belongs here. He's an Alaska FC guy. Anytime he's took a step up in competition, he's got smoked. I think Simon wins this fight and wins it pretty handily. The thing I think is interesting, though, in terms of like prop sprinkles is Simon round 2 and Simon round 3. And I did sprinkle a quarter unit on each. Simon round 2 plus 500, Simon round 3 plus 1200. The reason being is Simon's not some murderous power puncher. He's kind of a volume guy, kind of breaks you. And a lot of his finishes come late, like third round. I don't think this fight gets that far, but I could see a scenario where this fight does reach that second, and once that second round hits, those round 2, round 3 props are going to be very live. So I did sprinkle the round 2, round 3 for Simon, but ultimately I like Simon inside the distance, and I like the under 2.5, and I have both those parlayed. I'll touch on the other legs during the video here. Vitor Petrino going against Marcin Prachnio. So I think people are really struggling this week to find spots. I mean, it's a very chalky card. There's not a ton of live dogs, so people are having to bet Kamela Kirk, Shannon Ross, and for some reason, Marcin Prachnio. Now, this one doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I can get the Kamela Kirk angle. I could get the Shannon Ross angle. I think Shannon Ross can win this fight by decision. But this underdog angle, I do not quite understand. I mean, I think people are trying to fade Petrino, but I don't know. I mean, Petrino has just so many avenues to win this fight, in my opinion. Like, Petrino can obviously knock out. Prachnio has been knocked out a lot in his career. I think Petrino, a sneaky angle is, I think he can wrestle. Like, if he does not like how it's going on the feet, he could take down Prachnio. Petrino showed that he can wrestle and do it for 15 minutes even. His cardio is better than Prachnio's. He has so much more power. I think if Prachnio wins this fight, it's because either A, Petrino didn't show up like William Knight, like Khalil Roundtree, or B, Prachnio just leg kicks him to death across 15 minutes. So I just think Petrino has a lot more avenues to win this fight, whether it's knockout, whether it's, taking this guy down, grinding him out. I just think he has a lot of opportunities to win this fight and win it and look like a big favorite here. This guy hits like a truck. Like, he was landing massive shots on Turkalj that I don't think Prachnio eats. So give me Petrino here. If you guys watched last week, I did have Petrino in a parlay. I parlayed him with the under 2.5 in the Brito fight from last week. That hit, so now I'm sitting with 2.5 units on Vitor Petrino. Right now he's like minus 225. So yeah, money is coming in on Prachnio. I don't know what's going on this week, but we will see. Maybe Prachnio outpoints him, and it's the most boring fight of the night. But I don't know. Moving on, we got Tatsuro Taira going against Edgar Chairez. So I do have two bets here. I think the fight starts round 2 is interesting. Like, it's a pick 'em. Like, this is a flyweight fight at the end of the day. I don't think Chairez is some bum. He's getting priced as if he is a bum. But what I don't like about Chairez, though, is his cardio. I think he slows down massively as the fight goes on. He has taken this fight on short notice, so I don't love that. I think that Taira is going to get this fight down to the mat early and often, but I'm hoping Chairez can last at least to that second round. And I did sprinkle those Taira round 2, round 3 sub props. Round 2 plus 500, round 3 plus 1400, quarter unit on each. I think I'm hoping this fight gets extended. I'm hoping Chairez is good enough to extend this fight. He has 2 submission losses. One was in the 5th round, though. I think he's good enough to at least last 5 minutes in this fight. Could Taira sub him in round 1? Yeah, he could. But Taira round 1 is like minus 110, so you can't play that. It's a flyweight fight. So give me Taira sub, round 2, round 3 sprinkles, but that's about all I got for this fight. Crute Menafield, big fight here for me for a betting perspective. I like violence here first and foremost. I like the fight doesn't go the distance. I parlayed the fight doesn't go the distance. In this fight, with the under 2.5 and the Simon Mitchell fight came out to minus 146. I have 1.5 units on that. I also sprinkled some plus money props that I think are very live either side. I think Menafield KO 1 plus 500 is ridiculous. I think that's his literal win condition. Like, if this fight reaches the second round, I hate Menafield's chances. Menafield round 1 KO plus 500, took a quarter unit shot on that. And then I also sprinkled the Crute round 2, Crute round 3 props, plus 650 round 2, plus 1100 round 3, quarter unit on each of those. I think it's Menafield early, Crute late. I was considering the under 1.5, but it's not plus money. It's minus 115. I was hoping to get plus money since last fight went the distance. I thought there'd be some recency bias, but they are all over these violence props this week. I think this fight finishes. I know the last fight went the distance, but as we know, all rematches don't play out the same, and they really never do. So I think this fight ends at some point, whether it's Menafield landing a big shot or Crute getting a sub or TKO. I would not bet either side, though. I mean, a lot of people on Crute this week. I wouldn't do it myself. I just don't trust them. I mean, betting Crute has never worked out for me, but I think somebody's getting served in this matchup. So fight doesn't go in a parlay, and then the round 1 prop for Menafield KO, and then round 2, round 3 for Crute is how I'm attacking this one. Moving on, we got Yasmin Jaregui going against Denise Gomes. I took a Jaregui inside the distance, plus 150 for a half a unit. It's even plus 165 now. I just think that, Gomes is a dog, but she's still very green. She blocks punches with her face. She eats shots for fun, and she's super tough, don't get me wrong, but we have seen her dropped. We've even seen her knocked out before. And, being very hittable and blocking punches with your face, and it's not good against Yasmin Jaregui, who's just an absolute killer. I mean, she hits very hard. She's going to put it on Denise Gomes. I think she really beats up Gomes here. Does she get the finish potentially? But I think it's going to be like a really big beatdown. I know a lot of people on Gomes. I think we can all agree that this line is definitely wide for a WMA fight, but the line hasn't moved all week, and if anything, it's gotten wider in favor of Jaregui. I think that tells you everything you need to know. Jaregui should win this fight. Outside of it being WMA, she should go out there, and I think she steamrolls Gomes here. So give me the Jaregui inside the distance, plus 150, half a unit. I think the under 2.5 fight doesn't go, or also solid looks this fight. Jack Della, Josiah Harrell, the muscle hamster. Nothing to say here at all. Pass. I'm able to find some plus money spots on a lot of these fights that are somewhat playable. This one's not. I mean, Jack Della KO 1, but Jack Della KO 1's like minus 200. You can't play that. Pass. Nothing sticking out here. Jack gets it done and rolls. Pretty stupid matchup. Nico Price going against Robbie Lawler. There is a spot I really like in this fight. I like violence first and foremost. Both these guys towards the end of their careers, in my opinion. Price has not looked good in the last several years. Robbie Lawler obviously retiring. Both guys have no regards for their own safety. Both guys have no regards for any striking defense. These guys are going to stand and bang until one man falls. I think fight doesn't go under 2.5 are all in play here, but what I like is the fight ends by knockout. I couldn't believe this line. Fight ends by knockout, minus 134. I put 2 units on that. I think somebody's getting served here. I think somebody's getting knocked out. I think these guys are going to stand and bang. I think a knockout is very much on the table here. So minus 134 seems like a really, really good price here to me. So I don't see a sub either way. If there's a sub, it is probably going to be Nico Price getting the sub, but I don't see it. I think somebody's getting knocked out in this fight. So fight ends by knockout, minus 134, 2 units on it. That's how I'm attacking this fight. Don't lay minus 200 or so on Nico Price, and then also don't bet on Robbie Lawler. I mean, I would not bet a money line here on this fight. I don't know. It's not a fight I want to bet from a money line perspective, but from a violence perspective, sure. I think somebody gets starched. And then Bo Nickel, Valentine Woodburn. Again, not much to say here. I did parlay up the under 1.5 rounds. With Simon inside the distance, that came out to minus 146 for 1.5 units. I think that Nickel takes him down, and once he takes him down, it's probably over. Bo Nickel, the biggest favorite in UFC history as far as I'm concerned, and you can't even argue it. Like, if he does take this fight down to the mat, he's probably insta-subbing Woodburn here. So Bo Nickel first round. Not really any way to play this outside of if you want to lay a ton of chalk like I did, which I think it's a solid spot. I think it hits. It's just you're laying a ton of chalk here. So give me the under 1.5 as a parlay piece. But outside of that, nothing sticking out. Bo's sub is like minus 2 something, minus 3 something maybe. You just can't play that. All right, moving on. We got Jalen Turner going against Dan Hooker. I like Jalen Turner here. I like him quite a bit. I like Jalen Turner inside the distance, but a spot that did stick out to me in terms of plus money is Jalen Turner to win this fight in either round 1 or round 2 at plus 112. I have 1.5 units on it. Jalen Turner has lost every fight that has reached that third round. Jalen Turner, a 100% finish rate. All of those wins coming before round 3. So instead of laying minus 160 to minus 180 for Jalen Turner inside the distance, I'm going to take him to win either round 1 or round 2. And if this fight gets to round 3, I'm saying that I don't know if Jalen Turner finishes Dan Hooker that late, right? So give me Jalen Turner to finish this fight early. I actually think it's in round 1, but give me that extra round just to be safe. I think Jalen Turner finishes Dan Hooker. 1.5 units, Turner round 1, round 2 for me. I think Turner is getting Dan Hooker at the right time here. A couple more fights. Robert Whittaker going against Dricus du Plessis. I like violence here as well. I just thought it'd be more of a sneaky play. A lot of people think this fight does go the distance. Which is weird because this violence line is just getting crushed as we speak. Like the last couple days, these violence props have just been getting just completely smacked. I remember seeing the fight doesn't go at minus 160. It's like minus 225 now. It's a Dricus fight. Dricus fights don't go the distance. The one that did probably should have been stopped on several occasions. I think Dricus is going to make this a car crash. He's going to leave a lot of openings, which you do not want to do against somebody as high level as Whittaker. And obviously, if Dricus wins this fight, it's probably him destroying Whitaker in the first like 5 minutes. So it's gonna be a car crash like all Drika's fights. I think there's finishing opportunities both sides. Give me the violence. I have not bet it yet though. I'll probably be adding it in the comments if I do, if I end up passing. But I think violence is my favorite play in terms of this fight if I was to play anything. But like I said, nothing yet. But check the comments down below, and maybe I did add it. And then Brandon Moreno, Pantoja. So the more I think about this fight, the less confident I am on Pantoja, man. Like, I picked Pantoja, but I have some concerns about the cardio, about the 5-round nature of things. If this was a 3-round fight, I'd probably be max betting Pantoja in this matchup. But the fact of the matter is, it's a 5-round fight. We've never seen Pantoja in the 4th and the 5th, and we have seen him in the 3rd round slow down, like the Askarov fight. He's looking up at the clock. He's slowing down. The Royval fight, he's looking tired in that 2nd round. So, I kind of see it as Pantoja is going to come out here like a madman, I think. I think he's going to come out here looking for a war, trying to take off the head of Moreno, trying to take him down, trying to sub him, right? I don't know if he keeps at that pace for 5 rounds, whereas I know Moreno can. So I did take some sprinkles here on some pretty decent-sized props that I think are going to be live. I don't know if these hit, but I think they're going to be live and have multiple opportunities. So I saw this line, and it just didn't make a ton of sense to me. Pantoja to win in round 1 or round 2, plus 700. I put a half unit on that. Like, I think if Pantoja, when he's having his success, it's going to be in that 1st or 2nd round. Does he finish Moreno? Maybe, but I think there's going to be some opportunities for sure. And if this fight does end early, it is going to be Pantoja more than likely getting the 1st round sub or KO, right? So Pantoja round 1 or round 2 plus 700. And then also, I did sprinkle the Moreno late props. Moreno round 3, round 4, round 5. Quarter unit on each, 1,400 round 3, 1,900 round 4, 2,300 for round 5, just because we haven't seen Pantoja in the 4th round and the 5th round. We've seen him slow down in 3-round fights. I think he is going to come out here like a madman. I really do. So if that's the case, these 3rd, 4th, and 5th round props for Moreno are going to be on the table. You know, he finished Kaikar France, I think, in the 3rd. He's finished, Davison in like the 3rd, 4th, right? So I think once this fight does reach those later rounds, it is going to heavily favor Moreno. Does Moreno finish a very tough Pantoja? Maybe, but if Pantoja's gassed, yeah, he could. So we will see, but I think all those sprinkles are very much on the table. I think the fight doesn't go at a pick'em. It's not terrible. I just think there's going to be, like, this fight, it could be one of those fights where it goes the distance, but there's multiple knockdowns. There's multiple submission attempts. I mean, if this fight goes the distance, it's going to be the sweatiest over you've ever played, you got to imagine. So I think the over 2.5, 3.5 make a lot of sense, but I wouldn't go the fight goes just because of the question marks of Pantoja and his cardio and really his game plan. Like, what is his game plan going to be like? Is he going to take his time? Or is he going to go out there and fight like he's triple parked? So I don't know. We'll see. But give me all those prop sprinkles. I'm going to stick with my pick for Pantoja, but the longer the weeks went on, the less I feel about it. Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez, 2 bets here. So FanDuel was hanging a plus 124 for the fight doesn't go. A lot of people got on, and they didn't move it for like a while, and I was at the point where I was like, what's going on? Why isn't this line moving? It has moved quite a bit. If you can still get plus money on the fight doesn't go, I think that's a great way to go. Like, even at a pick'em on some books, I think the fight doesn't go is very much in play on this fight. Just because Yair, I think if he wins, it's probably catching Volkanovski early. But if not, I see Volkanovski dominating this fight. I see him taking down Yair. I think Yair has a massive hole in his game in the takedown defense, the get-up game. Volkanovski, he can wrestle. He hasn't lately, but he can wrestle. His ground and pound is vicious, and I think he's just going to beat the crap out of Yair Rodriguez as this fight goes on. I could see a doctor's stoppage. I could see him going out there and getting a TKO. I think Herb Dean's reffing, so I think he could very well stop this fight, that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. Volk 3rd, 4th, 5th round props are in play, but they're not. They got smashed, so they're not even. I'm not touching them. But give me the fight doesn't go plus 124, 1 unit, and then also Volk inside the distance plus 250, half a unit. That is like plus 185 now, which I still think is generous for a guy that's a minus 400 favorite. So give me Volk here to stop Yair in the later rounds. Thank you guys so much for watching. Got to head out of here. Still got a lot of stuff to do before leaving for Vegas. Like the video. I do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Interesting week, chalky week, but I think I did a good job at finding some plus money spots at the very least. Best of luck for UFC 290, guys. We'll talk to you very soon, and see you later.